You're listening to Best Practices with Kenny Berger. On this podcast, we talk with the country's top trial lawyers about their approaches to every aspect of practice, from case selection to closing argument. So all of our guests are great. All of them are one of a kind. And today we have the one and only Bob Simon. Bob, welcome to the podcast.
Hey man, thanks for having me. It was nice to see you in Charleston a few weeks ago too. Love that
Yeah.
city, man.
And so we were in Charleston. For folks who don't know, Bob and Maura Fiore have an incredible podcast called Bourbon of Proof. I was fortunate enough to be a guest recently. I'll tell you though, Bob, my all-time favorite episode of Bourbon of Proof is with Carl Douglas.
Yep. That is probably still our highest rated one. It's after, so those of you watching or listening that don't know, Carl was part of the team that represented O.J. Simpson. And after a few shots, he wanted to drink tequila on the episode. So after a few shots of tequila, I just asked him, hey, said O.J. do it? And he answered, man, like he gave his whole analysis. And it's funny to see, like, I go to our YouTube channel for Bourbon of Proof, and there's a short we cut with that. And you could just see all the comments on it and just the polarization to this day. And it's that verdict's now 30 years ago.
30 years.
30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I won't spoil the episode. People should watch it. They should listen to it. It's great on YouTube. It's great if you just wanted to do it by podcast on the audio only. But Carl's answer is so thoughtful and so worth hearing, that anyone who hasn't checked out Bourbon of Proof, check out all the episodes, and a special endorsement of Carl's.
Yeah, and it's cool to like to see now that we're doing the national thing. Like we were just in Charleston and did I think 8 episodes in 2 days, and just to see the amount of stories and the things that people are doing, things they're passionate about. And I would say watch it, go to the YouTube channel rather than listen to it because it's just a different dynamic. And I know your show is in a live audience, so there's a lot of people being called up. So it's just a very, very special thing. Oh, by the way, we stole the bourbon steward at Bourbon and Bubbles, Cowboy Will. We were just in Detroit last week. He came with us for the full 2 days, did all the shows. He's coming to us we're in New York in November. It's gonna be awesome.
Cowboy Will.
Yeah.
How could you not take that guy on tour?
He was unbelievable. And he's like a true like certified bourbon steward. He does like all the hand picks for it. It was really cool. So it adds a new experience.
Yeah, and I mean, Bob, you've got Bourbon of Proof. We're going to talk more about Justice HQ. We're going to talk about attorney share. We're going to talk about civil justice initiatives that you've undertaken. But where did this all start?
I mean, the whole passion for everything is look, man, I think at our core, all trial lawyers were brought up to like be anti-bully and help people, and everyone's got their origin story. And I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, working class family, and sharing one bathroom with your 4 siblings, you get some character, but working class family, aunts, uncles, big extended Irish side of our family, we're all Pittsburgh pressmen. They literally do the press. And, one of my uncles got catastrophically injured and just seeing him fight for that and for his family, just it has a different dynamic if you've lived it, if you've seen it, and that's always where I'll be. That's always where my heart lies and all the things, the products we build, the things that we do. It's like, man, if you can get every consumer or victim like the best representation for that specific issue, that's why we're here, man. So, but that's kind of it, the origin story. And I tell people to bet on themselves. What's the worst thing that could happen? I mean, you can go work for a defense firm if you wanted to get just paid for a while. Like it's like the worst case scenario. But I am a true blood. I've never worked on the defense side, so I'm a pure blood plaintiff lawyer.
Yeah, and same on this end, and I think it came partially from upbringing, partially from just being unwilling to put my time, especially my professional life, towards something I didn't believe in. I've never been one of those people who could say with a straight face things that I flat out didn't believe, and just had the good opportunity to start out on the plaintiff side, and work for people, and really get an appreciation and an understanding of what's happened in individual lives. And when I put myself in their shoes and I ask myself, what would it be worth to me? Or what would it be worth if it was my child? Then I've got to ask the question of why should it be worth less to anybody else and for anybody else? and could it perhaps and should it perhaps be worth even more to them. Bob, when I first heard your name, it was because you were nailing verdicts on spine cases and getting numbers that I hadn't heard about. And I'll be honest, I just didn't think were necessarily possible on spine surgery cases in car crashes and otherwise. Tell us about some of those early results and kind of what you've done along the way when it comes to spinal injury cases.
I mean, so it's one of those like again, like the origin story stuff. It was my brother has steel rods and my twin brother steel rods in his back, and from like C7 all the way to like T12. And just to see what you have to go through with that, it's real. So I know that medicine very well, and it just kind of came whenever, I was a young lawyer starting my own firm. You kind of take what you can get, and people referred me a lot of these, what they thought were just soft tissue cases where people were still in pain. And just by paying a lot more attention to their individual story, listening to them, looking through the medical records and kind of, questioning like, why aren't we looking here is like the pain generator and, maybe go talk to another specialist. And then these cases started to become when these lawyers would refer me the case and they thought it was like max 100 grand. And then they're getting a referral fee check for like 250 grand a year later. It's like, whoa, things are a little different here. And my thought was these are chronic pain, human harm cases. They're not just that nothing fits in like a square peg or a round hole square peg. I don't know, whatever that expression is. So I go and would just push them to the envelope and try these cases, a lot of open policy cases because they wouldn't pay the policy limit. I'm in my house here in Manhattan Beach, and I say this is the castle State Farm paid for. They made some really bad decisions and left policies open and let me try all these cases when I was a young lawyer. And they don't see coming as the human story. And that's a lot of what I put that knowledge into the book, trying disc injury cases with the trial guides. Um, and I've probably tried like 30 or 40 of these that have hit for 7 or 8 figures. And it's a repeatable process. And I saw, traveling a lot, people come up to me like, oh, I just tried this case. We used your book. It worked. Even when we were in South Carolina, one of our good friends settled a multi-million dollar disc injury surgery case, and again, did not think that even I hear the story all the time, man, Kenny. It's like, oh, we can't do this in South Carolina. Oh, I can't do this in Kansas. And now everybody's starting to do it, right? And that's a special thing is having other people use that recipe, and then insurance carriers have to think it differently. And all of a sudden, they're taking hopefully these cases more seriously, regardless of who the lawyer's on. Although the lawyer on it matters astronomically, but hopefully they take it more seriously now.
Well, and to your point, it's like we were saying, what's the worst thing that can happen? You end up, having to go work for somebody else or having to do insurance defense work. Like when I hung a shingle, it was like, shit, worst thing that can happen is it doesn't go well, and I just go back to working for somebody else. Fine. On these disc injury cases and these fusion cases, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a number that's pretty damn close to what you're being offered anyways. There's just not that much risk. And we talked about this on a recent episode, but if they're offering you 500,000 bucks and you believe in every ounce of you that the case is worth a million or more, and the jury comes back and for whatever reason, you get 450, okay. I mean, what you didn't really lose anything. You gained a ton of experience, and hell, maybe the next time it's worth 2 million bucks. I mean, hell, the your book, which I mentioned when I saw you in Charleston, ironically or providentially, we resolved a case for the policy limits, tough spine injury case that we workshopped with you. But we resolved that case for the policy limits right before I headed down to Charleston, Mississippi, in large part because of lessons that were drawn from your book. So thank you, and our client
Well,
thanks you for
and
putting
this is
it
the
out
thing
there.
is like we would workshop those cases on, within Justice HQ, and you can even like me, I learn stuff new even whether I'm running the workshop or a participant in it, and just thinking about things a little bit differently. And it's that collective wisdom. And that's kind of what we wanted to do with the Justice HQ project is on a mobile app with thousands of lawyers that are really good at what they do, different geographic and specialty areas. You're going to find somebody that had a really interesting thought or had big success by trying one different thing, right? And that's how you start to have that multiple effect. No, and that's cool. And it was cool when we were there in South Carolina, seeing people talk. Like the one dude rolled in and he had like a $5 million med mal verdict in Myrtle Beach. I was like, wow. And like even lawyers in South Carolina didn't even know that, and then hear about the bad faith law that exists in South Carolina and some interesting things you can do, man. It was really cool.
Yeah. And so for you mentioned Justice HQ. I'm a member.
Mhm.
I recommend other people to become members, but what is Justice HQ?
So Just HQ is a community building mobile app, and you can have your private community, you can have your public community, you have access to education, like your podcast is on there, my podcast is on there. You have on-demand education. Again, people can share as much as they like. We started our um, rideshare responsibility coalition there, for instance, as a private group. So you have to apply to get in, you have to be screened to get in, and you have the ability to have chat rooms, forums, access to different type of media, messaging, and have high level access. But then there's things that are open to all, like we actually allow vendors to come in to create their own community engage as well, because I think they have a lot to give back. We were talking earlier about Expert Institute. They're in there, and what they will be able to do is, find you experts quickly, but also run webinars, workshops about maybe this new area of law or highlighting this expert. Look, people can log in and do the free webinar that day, watch it on demand or not. It's everybody's free choice and free will, but one of the coolest things, there's two that are on that app, is one, there's an events page and it'll show you like everybody that has any event is going to be there. And it'll show you like where it is, what it is. It's all sortable too. And if you need sponsorship, right? Discounts. And the other one is there's a member, if you go to connect, there's a membership one where if you log in and hit the hot map, it'll show you everybody logged in currently has like their profile picture and face. You can literally zoom in like on a geographic map. And it's like, oh, let's see who's in, let's see who's in Raleigh today. Let's go. Let's see who's in Austin. And then you can just touch a button, talk to them. And that's it. It's like I just think too many of all of these networks are too close-minded and it's just us, us, us. It's like, no, this is all. You could still just be us, but you can give access to all. And that's trying to take the practice of law from a micro to a macro view. And you could do everything and run it a gambit. Again, it's like you can go to justhq.com or go to the mobile app, download it, and we allow the people to bring in their entire firm. So we have a community subscription. It's only $20 a month. You're not going to see that anywhere to be able to have access to all these things. And then there's other ones that do more that run community groups. But yeah, I think about now that we know how much technology costs to build and run these days, we can actually lower the price point and have a lower barrier of people being successful.
And here's the thing that I love about Justice HQ is even though we've got vendors in there, lots of different members, I'm not being sold on anything. I'm not being pitched. I'm not having people try to sell me on why we should work together. Um, on my cases, it's all there to help. I mean, everybody there is there. And again, credit to you, Bob, and your team. It's so collaborative and such an idea of, that rising tide lifting all of our individual boats. And also remembering that we're in this thing together. And if we want to create real change in the legal system and by extension, real change in the justice system, man, there are things we can do individually, but when we start working collectively, that change becomes amplified.
Yeah, and that's like, we were talking like people always call me like the human connector in the industry. It's like, well, guess what? My entire Rolodex and everybody else's is on Justice HQ now, right? And then, conduit into attorney share. But today, like I saw, since we have to approve who comes into that one private community about legislation, like somebody that runs a giant medical super PAC requested to come in because the medical doctors do not want to restrict victims to access to medical care. That's a big thing. Like if you're trying to limit people to Medicare rates when these doctors don't accept Medicare, it's really going to hurt victims across the board because they don't have access to care. So that's exciting. Like my vision there is to have, statewide legislation, federal legislation, have people to be able to collaborate on stuff like that. Because this past, like last week, the governor of California signed two bills that I helped to actively write, and it makes things a lot better. I mean, it's crazy to think that. I got the text that governor signed the bills. Like, holy shit! Like we wrote, I was with my kids and my wife, and she's like, I was like, Dad, you got to write a bill. My girl's like, what does that mean? Like a law, like that people have to follow. And my daughter's like, well, what kind of law? And my wife is like, that lawyers have to ethically like advertise. Like, imagine if somebody, what was the example she said? She's like, imagine if somebody, a commercial said that if you buy this dinosaur, it's a real dinosaur. It'll come to your house and it can fly. And if it came to your house and it did didn't do those things, like that would be fraud, right? Because it's not true. And she's like, yeah, that wouldn't be good. She's like, well, that's what that law does, but for lawyers.
Oh, I mean,
Uh,
I could see, kid being like, oh, yeah. I mean,
it's like,
that
it's a
makes
no-brainer. Like,
sense.
well, yeah, you shouldn't be able to lie about what you can do. Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned attorney share again. Huge fan. We've talked about this before. I mean, I individually and just to show how intertwined these things are. I mean, we're doing work in an Uber ride share case that hopefully has again is one more component in a larger wave of change on holding these folks accountable, making them follow the law, holding them to standards that every other business prior to this gig economy held itself to and understood. But we got this case through attorney share, and we would not have gotten it but for attorney share. So for attorneys, Bob, who aren't as familiar with it, tell us about attorney share.
Yeah, and I'll just use this specific example because I know that an AI voice intake was used that had a integration with Attorney Share that pushed the case directly into the platform. And it was a South Carolina case, and they gave it to the Justice Age community first because you could send it to community first looks. And they selected you, obviously, because you're probably the best there that picked up the case, and then it'll track your fee share agreement and the status of the case. So there's one product, it's called like the way I see it, it's like a CRM with lead management. So people can from intake refer out all the cases they're not going to take. They can identify which cases are meet your criteria for firm. If not, it'll auto post out, and then eventually it's going to start to predict who gets the best result for you. Like that's the evolution. And we just last week announced the integration with Clio and reporting back the KPI. So Clio, if you're on Clio Manage, once you change the status update, it's going to go down funnel. So there's no more ambiguity of how many referrals do I have with you? What's the status? It's going to be all in one centralized place and all automated. So that's that lead management automation. The other one is just a true marketplace. So if you have these cases that you don't know what to do with, you can put it on there, request a referral fee, see. And there's coverage, there's 4,000 lawyers on here now. So there's a coverage for every practice area in every state. And it allows the opportunity for whenever someone calls your office, you just still try to find an opportunity for them to have the best advocate for them. And with all the automations, it's getting faster, stronger, and easier. And the big vision here with this product was how quickly can we get a client that calls any law firm's office, match with their best advocate and track everything without having to do anything. Because like even 6 months ago, these giant billboard lawyers had a very big leg up on us because they had call centers, they had access to a large amount of capital to advertise, and it's flipping it on its head, man. It's like all these lawyers now have AI voice intake or access to it where it can sort these cases quick. You don't need a call center anymore. You need a good phone number with like good branding, marketing, or SEO, and you generate these leads, send the cases out that you don't handle, still monetize with your referral fee and be able to track them, and then keep the really good ones that you know you'll do a good job with. So I'm just very excited about that product because it was not easy to build all of the proprietary tech, all of the integrations to put together the right team. And anytime you put together like a crazy vision and then to see people execute it is wild, like wild, man.
Yes, let's talk about that for a sec. I mean, one of the questions that came up when y'all were coming to Charleston, all the way from California, um, and spending time in Savannah, and then going to Michigan, spending time away from wives and children. It was like, well, what's their angle? What's in it for them? And to that end, I mean, Bob, these aren't things you have to do, right? Like you could be perfectly comfortable running your law firm, trying cases or not trying cases, hanging out in Manhattan Beach, just living. So what is it that's motivating you to travel across the country, create, uh, write an incredible book, create these different platforms? What's the story?
I mean, look, we are in a unique opportunity in our space, the legal space, to be where all of the really good lawyers win simply because you're a really good lawyer. And by helping lawyers pick themselves up by letting their voice speak out, and that's why we do the Bourbon Approved Tour. Because I'm like, look, let's highlight all these really good lawyers geographically let everybody know and see who they are, and then make it very, very easy for people to send all the cases to the really good lawyers. This then, we were in a competitive space with private equity buying up all the ads, all of the marketing costs, right? We can flip it. It's like disenfranchising the practice of law. So what we're trying to do is let everybody meet the biggest automated referral network of the creme de la creme, right? And everything's automated track. Look how easy it is to send it, to this gal here in New York. She's a killer in employment law. It's done. Now she doesn't have to go out there and do marketing costs, all these operational things. It's just, oh, my intake got pinged 5 times from attorney share today. We're letting our AI company vet them, and they signed one extra case a day in their wheelhouse. Man, that helps everybody out. So I think it's just the next year or two, most of my time will be spent on that mission. That's where I think it needs to be. And if we get everybody on the same systems, the same integrations, everybody working together, we take out all the bad players. We don't need private equity in the space. We just need to be a really good lawyer that people can know and feel that they're part of your home.
Yeah, I mean, you're creating relationships, you're creating community. I mean, whenever I've thought about marketing, I've always thought about relationships, results, reputation, and those arrows point in different ways, and the flow isn't always the same every single day. But if you have lawyers who are getting great results, who are building great reputations, and now have those relationships, or building the relationships which lead to the results, which enhance the reputation, you're to your point, good lawyers working on good cases and working to make good cases great cases versus a settlement mill that, because of overhead pressures, because of the business model, it just literally can't afford to do high level professional work. And it's something you and I've just talked about. I've talked about on the podcast, but I think it bears repeating. There's a difference between being a business person who has a profession and being someone who is a professional who has a business. And I think what you've done is such a wonderful job of being a professional first, understanding that this is a profession, and at the same time recognizing there's a business component, but not just trying to be a business person who's moving cases.
Yeah, and this is the one thing that I've seen in the past few months on attorney share, because I can see all the cases that people are putting in, and I've seen a few very well-known big advertising law firms putting on a lot more cases. And when I talk to them, what they learned is, hey, we don't have to sit on these cases and treat them in this, send it to the chiropractor, pain management, settle the case. They will not only do a better service for their client, but they know now they'll make more money by referring it to the better lawyer on a fee split, having it all automated. I mean, so I'm seeing, like, for instance, this one, they're probably putting in, like, I'd guess 100 cases a week, matching at least 50% of them. And these are in, like, Kansas, Missouri, Wisconsin, Oregon, like, and they're going to good lawyers too. So they've realized that if they get 25% or even a third of the fee on the referral fee, everybody's going to win here, because that lawyer, again, really good lawyer, good reputation, they're not advertising for these cases, and they're getting really good cases in their wheelhouse. And that's refreshing. If we can get that, because we try to make it so easy for these law firms, they're getting so many leads. Literally, it's so easy that they don't have to do anything different. Like, the AI just does it for them. We want to incentivize that so much that they don't think they have to sit on these cases, but that was refreshing. So it's, if we can keep dialing that up, that'd be cool.
That's awesome. Bob, you've mentioned AI for intake a couple times. I don't want to get you in trouble with any any vendors, but is there anybody or any buddies that um, people should be taking a look at in terms of that AI intake space?
Yeah. So if you want to reach out to me, I'll tell you what probably fits best for you specifically. I mean, we built our own AI voice intake, and we did it with Ratel AI. And they source their voices off 11 labs. And the way, I mean, AI is becoming faster, more repeatable, and less expensive. So, like, I know folks like Capture Now is a great product, Lawyer Line AI, Legal Navigator, the product by Law Leaders. These are all great products. It's just what do you do with it? So in our the way we build ours is it goes directly to our case management or CRM while at the same time pending to go push through attorney share. And it's the AI receptionist will identify big case in your wheelhouse, send it to my CRM, ping our closers in our firm to get on the phone and talk to that client. But if not, it's going to automatically do the plugin. So a lot of people are just doing that. Hey, just send it directly to your firm. But if we can't help that person, it's just like, sorry, we can't. Done. No, step further is plug it into Attorney Shirt. It has a free API. Like if you go into your account right now, firm settings, there's an API key that you could just plug into any of your intake that has a transcript. It doesn't have to be AI. It could just, we have an integration with CallRail, like Lex Reception, anything with a transcript, it'll automatically push through. And you could just write the rule that you could literally put in the rule, every case that I get in South Carolina goes to Kenny first, right of first refusal. You could do that, and that's what we want people to be able to do. We
For
want to,
folks outside of South Carolina, it's a great idea.
but that's the thing. That's why I do national stuff because then honestly, I get a lot of good looks on the big cases I like, you know. Like Brett Schreiber, he's gotten those Tesla cases that he hit for 9 figures, and I know another one that he resolved recently that was substantial was because he's in Justice HQ and he got it on attorney share. But he was the guy. Like there was nobody that could have done those cases against Tesla than him. And he's in the weeds. He knows everything. And that to me, that's access to justice, man. So
That's amazing. Everything's moving so fast right now. I mean, I feel like history is moving fast. I feel like the legal industry is moving fast. I think AI has been the biggest accelerant, you know, uh, probably in my lifetime, and certainly since the internet. What do you think's next? I mean, what should lawyers and law firm owners be looking at in terms of kind of how the next 12 to 24 months might go, both in terms of legal practice and business practice?
I think you're going to see more and more, you're already seeing more search terms come with people using ChatGPT over Google. And what they're going to resonate more with is if you look like a trusted brand more than anything. And that's why I rebranded from the Simon Law Group to the Justice Team. That's why we do so much media. That's why we prop people up so much because the more you feel like that lawyer is someone you want to have in your living room, right? The more opportunity you will have to work on that case or to refer it out, right? It's just not like a person paying the first on Google. So that's step one. And again, you just need your cell phone. You could create content. You could do those things like taking a podcast like this, cutting it to short form content, repurposing it, having it seen. It's not super expensive. Now it does take standard operating procedures. It does take a lot of things to be able to do. Massive ROI, right? So now you're here, so you can highly visible, seen by other lawyers, highly visible, seen by now consumers. You can decide, am I going to geofence, digital marketing, stuff like that. Again, not expensive to run those things like conventional marketing. Step two is you got to be really, really, really efficient on your operations and automations. And I know that in the next few months, you're going to have like an autonomous pre-litigation law firm. It's coming. Like I know we're doing AI voice not only to do some reception intake, but you can deploy it to follow up with your clients. I know one firm is doing it to open up their claims with insurance companies, police reports, and other companies are using it to order medical records. So you're going to be at the point where all that you can just going to invest your time and sit down with these folks. And if you get a playbook down using those systems, now all of a sudden your overhead's way less. Um, your cost to acquire the case is way less. And no matter what happens, you have a very viable law firm that's helping a lot of people very quickly. So I think those two takeaways is just well position yourself as a well branded, trusted lawyer and be really efficient on your systems, at least in the initial 30, 60, 90 days. I think it's really hard for litigation to reach that point of automation. There's a lot of stuff you can do, which is everything's so very specific and then different rules for different courthouses, even different judges. So it's a little different. But if you do those two things in short order, you'll be fine.
I tell you, man, we were talking about before we went live, we're getting ready for a case that's going to trial. It'll probably be tried by the time this airs. Um, Utilizing AI in preparing for that trial has cut down so much on just the cognitive load. Like I'll call it like, I'll feel like my head getting hot. I'll kind of feel that like swimmy feeling. Um, working with AI, it might still come, but it might hit me at like, I don't know, 6 o'clock instead of like 1:30. You know what I mean? It's just it's such a game changer. And a friend of mine pointed this out that on the plaintiff side, we we have and should continue to have, at least for a while, a real advantage because a lot of the defense firms are disincentivized from the time shortcuts that AI provides because it could result in less billable hours.
Yeah, they gotta start doing retainer work, or else they're gonna be in real trouble because we get paid perhaps not per hour, so we gotta be really efficient. Now with the savings that we have, like you, we probably get sent a lot of litigation trial cases, mid litigation or closer to trial, and it takes a long time or used to review the entire
Yeah.
file. They send it different forms. So we have one of these AI companies has an admin for our account on attorney share. So what they're doing is they'll vet these cases and report back to us. Yeah, so there's one that came in today, and I looked at it, I was very impressed because it was a slip and fall on wet grass at a golf tournament. Now you think those facts, like, man, that sounds tough case. Like, yeah, they'll vet it. So it's sent back all of these things and like with hyperlinks and a summary. Now that would have taken us days. We probably have just rejected it right away, but like, and I could see the back and forth because I saw it, and my brother was like, "Oh wow, look at this record in here. Oh, this person wasn't even drinking at this event, and they had priors." I was like, "Oh boy, like now this is like a hidden gem, likely seven-figure case that through automations we're able to see it very quickly." And the lawyer that referred it out was just thinking, please somebody take this off my hands. This sounds so complicated. And now it's okay. We got you, bro.
Man. Yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying and I'm super excited about what comes next in terms of case review on cases that are coming in. Because, Chelsea, who in essence really is like the one who hosts this podcast, but I mean, Chelsea's seen it, our whole firm has seen it or the number of Saturday or Sunday mornings I've spent over the last 15 or 16 years reviewing cases to see if we wanted to handle them at the expense of everything else in my life. And again, thank God for the opportunity to review them. But man, running them through different AI platforms now, interacting, taking a few questions back and forth, the prompts that AI is coming up with itself are getting just better and better. I mean, what used to take, and not just used to take in terms of time, but in terms of the lift, the cognitive load, um, hours and a
It's
lot of
usually it's a high cognitive individual at your firm that's doing those ones. Because if I'm gonna invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into this case, you got to have like your high level partners reviewing it. Like that's the thing. It's not like, oh, someone got in a car crash yesterday and the person likely was insured. I mean, yeah, sign that one up. But otherwise, man, it takes a lot off of your firm because we have the team of like six of our lawyers that would just be reviewing these cases all the time. That alleviates their time to go do other things. So,
it's a huge cost too. You're like, yeah, no shit, I paid it. All right. What do you think is next? I mean, you've got, again, we talked about kind of what may be next and what we think is next, legal practice, business practice. What does Bob Simon want to do next?
oh wow, I like that question. Um, so my personal mission is to bring together all these stars in the industry that are really good lawyers, prop them up. Like I always wanted to take like the Justice Team brand and make it a national law firm that helps actively participate in lawyers across the country acquiring good cases, putting together these automated procedures, lifting them up as a well-branded, well-oiled machine, and letting the really good lawyers win. And my dream would be able to do that with a whole bunch of my friends, lawyers across the country, and let anybody know that if they need anything, they could just go to the Justice Team app and hit the button that says call my lawyer, which we built. And it's our AI voice intake. And what it'll do is route all the cases to the best lawyers. Uh, that's my dream, dude, because I remember when I grew up, I didn't know any lawyers. You just knew a lawyer on TV. The one lawyer I ever met, I just saved his business card. I don't know what he did, but I would have called that person for anything. And if that lawyer told me he couldn't help me, didn't know what to do, I probably would have given up. Um, but I'd like to alleviate that. So that's where I think we got law, embrace technology. And after that, I think it'll just be owning a small hotel on the coast of Spain, and I'll be a bartender for all of our guests. And I will just
Oh,
talk life. It'll be
see,
like White Lotus, but
mhm.
like no one will die. Maybe. I don't know, but we'll see. That's my dream. My dream is to,
And here's the deal, like because I've had the good fortune of getting to know you a little bit, like I can see that. For people who hopefully get to meet you in the future, you were like, oh yeah, I can see that. You said something that I found really profound. It's been on my mind a lot. And whenever we get like super busy with work, if hearings, trial prep, in trial, whatever it may be, uh, the this point really resonates. You said what you really want, in terms of quality is stress-free time with your family.
yeah. And I added a word there. It's financial stress-free time with your family. If you can lock that in, you win. I was actually talking to my dad about this yesterday. We watched all the Steeler games together with my brothers and my dad. My dad, UPS truck driver, and he didn't make a lot of money. I mean, working class, right? But we had a high quality of life as kids because my dad was able to spend a lot of time with us, coached all of our sports. My mom was heavily involved in everything that we did. And we were blessed, man. And I think if we can allow everybody to have that opportunity, would be like an amazing thing. But one thing we were talking about is I used to remember we had this old converter vans. My dad took out like the seats in the back. We put like a bed back there just so we want to fit as many of our cousins and friends as we could in the back of this van. It was this old brown van would roll up to baseball games, like 10 kids would jump out, but we were sitting in the back and have the time of our lives in that thing. We actually used to drive to Myrtle Beach every year from Pittsburgh in that thing. And my cousin Jason, who you met, that lives in Charlotte now, he's the oldest cousin in the group, and he was in our van with my brothers and sisters, maybe some other cousins on the drive down. It's like an 11-hour drive, and it was wild. I remember like my little brother was like biting his toes and we're laughing, and it was that shit you remember, and it's like core memory fun stuff. So what I'm doing is I'm actually auctioning off at Mardi Gras one of my Teslas, the Model X Tesla, the Falcon Door one, because I'm gonna get the friggin' VW bus, the new electric VW bus,
Electric bus, yeah, it's cool looking.
and I'm gonna make it just like that, like kid swivel chairs, like little fridge back there, and God, kids get in. I told my wife, I was like, you can design anything you want to wrap that car. I don't care if it's flowers. I don't care if it's pink. I will drive it all over town. That's what it's about. So that's
Yeah,
financially stress-free time with even if you're driving your kids around, that would be awesome.
I love that. It's funny growing up, like I knew like we lived in a nice house, but I never knew like anything kind of past that because my dad was born like a little bit post-depression. His family had basically lost everything in the depression. So he was always like way below his means. Like as an adult, someone was like, "Man, yeah, you were like the poorest rich kid I knew." But like growing up, my favorite memories probably were as a kid going either to Clemson games or to Charlotte Hornets games with my dad, or with my dad and my brothers. And especially on the Hornets games, I couldn't tell you who won any of those games. I mean, not one. But I do remember a lot of the times, and I remember like, you know, riding home in the back seat, lying down, counting the stars on the way home. Just being with family is just awesome.
Yeah. My brother actually used to have the starter jacket fad. Like I was born in 1980, like so this was early 90s. Everybody got those old starter jackets. My brother had a Charlotte Hornets like starter jacket. I think I was drafted like Alonzo Mourning one year, yeah, that was wild. But yeah,
Perfect deal. All right, you mentioned Lottie Raw, which is, what y'all have got going in Southern California. Should probably be studied at some point, kind of as one of these outliers, like with the Malcolm Gladwell Outliers book, because it's just such an incredible array of like talent, community, camaraderie. I mean, I'm sure it has its stuff, like any family. But what y'all have done there, it's a special moment in time. Tell us about Lottie Raw.
so we do an annual conference, which I started with Teresa Deep, and Teresa and she was our marketing director at the time. She actually managed my favorite bar where I met my wife in, and this is where we started to do just weird, crazy shit. And one day we were like, hey, let's just start our own conference. Like we're sick and tired of hearing the same stuff from the same people all the time in like conference rooms. I was talking to John Marco about this when we were in Detroit because they do their one say hello to Michigan, which is fantastic. I was like, you know what, John, before I came to your conference, the last time they asked me to come speak at Michigan, it was out in Lovi, Michigan. It was in like some Marriott where you could smell the bleach because there's a pool inside. Like, what are we doing here? So when so a lot of guys were like, you know what, we're gonna start like an outdoor music festival, a lot of hip hop artists that'll perform like throwback nostalgia stuff, make it about building community, and let the young generation come up and talk. Let vendors come up that are good at what they do and just educate us. And I don't want to hear the same story from the same lawyer over and over again. So we did. We started that first conference. We had who do we have? We had like a hip hop throwback. It was Color Me Bad, Young MC, Tone Loc, Sugar Hill Gang, and they just came up with like the 3 or 4 best hits, and it was awesome. Everybody had such a good time. You're like, you know what? Let's just do it again. So the next year we stepped it up. I think we did Nelly and Flow Rider the next year. Wild. And then COVID hit, and we had to like pivot and do some stuff. And then we did Rev Run and Snoop Dogg one year. Uh, we did Ice Cube, brought back Flow Rider another year. He's the best, man. Like he's so much fun. Then last year we had Nick Carter with the Backstreet Boys and Vogue, CeeLo Green, band called Scarlet Opera. So it's
Um,
just 4 to 5 hour outdoor music festival. And then CLEs during the day. People that have very good stuff, the things to talk about, to say. We now have a lot of the tech and AI folks come. A lot of the medical doctors come. So, and we make it very family friendly. Like this year, we have, well, it'll air by the time it happens, but our headliner that's actually this Friday is Diplo, and he's coming with a awesome show. But on the concert lawns, we have a whole area for kids this year where they have their silent movies. I had to pick the 4 silent movies that they have this year. They have face painting, like arcade trucks, and we had like certified nannies that are there too. So I look, there's like 50 kids that are registered for this. That's great, man. Again, core memories. Like imagine kids talking about going, they're already talking to our kids' school, like we were at drop off this morning, and a bunch are coming from Manhattan Beach are coming down. And they're all excited. You going to Lottie Girl? Oh, me too. And it's cool because my daughters get to come up on stage to announce some of the artists, and they're like little celebrities because they're on stage with so and so. You know,
right.
it's
I,
just
I am getting protection for 2026 to come to Mardi Gras next year. I mean, it just sounds way too much fun. And it'd be super fun to bring my wife and daughter.
exactly. So we try to create something that you want to have that experience with your family, right? Um, and today I had to, we have a blacklist. So like we don't like people that we have no crooks, no creeps. We don't want drama. So we create one if somebody does something really shady. It's like, sorry, you're out. Like this one person put in a lot of money. We were like, I had a discussion with them today. I was like, I heard these things. Can you verify if it's true or not? And they wouldn't answer the question. Like, well, I cannot have you there. Like, I'm not going to have somebody there that I don't care how much money you have. This is not what this is about. Like this is a kumbaya session. But again, we want people to be themselves, be branded. The conference isn't about like one specific person, group, or entity. It's like I tell people, come wear your swag, let everybody know who you are. Like that's why we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I see anything about Lottie Gras, um, the spirit comes through more than like the hype.
Yeah.
You know, the feeling comes through more than the name.
Yeah, and that's I got reminded how many people like made a lifelong relationship there. When one gal, she found her husband there. And another one, I mean, they were reminding me. And then I saw Yanni Boren there, and he was like, wow, he had a very special experience there at Lottie Gras with made a lifelong relationship. But that's just the cool thing of kind of what we've probably built, you know, and it is a lot of friggin' work. We have like 1,300 people registered so far, and it's grown from that 200 to now, right? And we take over the whole hotel. That's the other thing, guys. If you're running a conference, try to have one centralized location where everybody's going to be. I, it's very difficult if you do one in like Las Vegas and people have all these options to go do everything else. It's like you're going to lose the intimacy of the conference. The people are just going to hang out with their crew and then go. Um, so it's about new stuff. Yeah.
Great point. Bob, for folks who are early in their career, kind of at a crossroads and trying to decide what's next for them. Again, your newer lawyers, your folks who are like, like anybody, myself included, every single day trying to figure out something a little bit different. But what would be your message for folks who are just getting in the field or just getting into plaintiff's work?
One, do be curious and try to learn something new every day. But another one, find mentorship groups and circles. And that's a lot of people charge a lot of money for these masterminds, these special groups. $20 a month on Justice HQ mobile app, you have access to all that, and that's why we did it, because we don't think your bar number, license number, or if you're staff or a paralegal does not dictate your success. And a lot of times it just takes being in that right circle to understand your best path forward and then executing on it.
Yeah, I mean, I got interested in brain injury cases years ago, from being at a conference. I was in line, getting ready to have lunch at a different conference, ran into some guys. They were talking about brain injury cases. I got interested in it, started going to some brain injury stuff, met Steve Gersten in that world. Then Steve was kind enough to invite me to something he was putting on in Vegas a little over a year ago. That's how I met you. As soon as I met you, I was like, man, fast friend, great guy, super interested in what you were
And I
doing.
met Chadwick Mance. I met there too. He had him on the Savannah show.
That's it. Yeah, great guy. And just in my experience, a great piece of advice I got from my dad was when it comes to anything continuing education wise, anything mentorship wise, it doesn't have to be the best person in your building, on your street, in your city. Go out and find whoever's the best in the world at what they're doing. And you know this, I mean, more often than not, the best of the best will will help you. I mean, in my experience, it's been more than 50% of kind of the best of the best that I've reached out to have been kind enough to give me a little bit of time. And usually when you reach out to these people, you talk for 2 minutes and then hell, they'll talk for half an hour. And by the time you hang up the phone, man, you're a better lawyer, probably a better person. One more person you might be able to make contact with in the future. And it builds. It's not instantaneous, but over time, the cumulative effect is pretty extraordinary.
And you have to maintain those relationships. So if you see somebody at a conference, so I try to get like I would try to get the conference list if ever I go somewhere, and I am dialed in enough to say who are the folks I want to meet, strategic purposes, learn about them, and then make sure you follow up. One other thing that I've been doing is I have it's called Plod, Plaud, Plod AI, and it's a recordable AI recorder, but I wear the one that just looks like a watch. And when I'm out networking or conferences, I just turn it on and it records everything. And you have the recordings, but it also gives you like follow-up items and like who you talk to about what. And then I send that to my EA to, hey, make sure, look at these actions, make sure I follow up with this, because sometimes you forget. It's like a moment in time. And then sometimes I'll catch myself like talking to my wrists and be like, hey, remember to talk about that person to XYZ. But I just did this starting a month ago when I went to the Cali convention, and it worked, dude. It's really funny just to see the summary that it gives me and what I need to do. Now, Nevada is a one-party recording state, as is Texas, and I definitely did it in Austin with at another conference. So just watch those rules, but it depends what you use it for. But man, that's like dialed in, like strategic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just next level. I mean, it's one of the things I like, whenever I get to hang out with you and talk with you. It's like, all right, we may be doing something cool, but anytime you come across someone who's doing that one step up, two steps up, three steps up, four steps further, where it's like, ooh, how can we take something good and make it better?
Yeah, it's like little things so we're doing like the Bourbon Proof show. What I'll do is we, of course, record everything, but then we get the transcripts of everything. You can then use that for creating blogs. And also we keyword search stuff like, and this is how did I want to do with the media company. Like we always do like a throwback Thursday, I think it is, but I approve the episodes or the clips on probably Sunday or Monday. So they did one and it was like the episode that Sarah Williams was on. And I was like, okay. And I just remember the episode, and I was like, okay, Sarah just went over to Singleton Schreiber. She is a keynote at Mardi Gras this year. That whiskey was highlighted, the Maclo. I know Julie Maclo. She's actually coming on the New York City show. She's releasing a new bourbon. Now, imagine being so dialed in that you know any industry event that happens with somebody, and it auto scans the transcripts, and say, all right, this is one that you want to post. Because again, because you cut it short from that. And now all of a sudden your stuff goes more viral. Like with Carl Douglas, I know there was a 30-year anniversary of the OJ verdict because I would see it here and there. I was like, I told my team, let's go start repurposing some of the Carl Douglas stuff, right? That's the guys from Eve just had a huge raise. They were on the show. Use it. And actually, I saw that my interview of them, they used to run ads on their success of that company. And Even Up does it too. They all do it, but it's like that's special to see because you know it works. But I've had to be so dialed in to be able to highlight any new newsworthy topical event and cut it up and put it out right away.
Last question, and if I was listening to this just as a member of the audience, I think I'd, I'd have the question of how do you go about both from a time standpoint and just keeping all these things kind of together in your head and still maintain. I mean, you're a laid back dude. I mean, you're very focused. You're very kind of in the moment. You've just got so many things going on. How do you go about doing it from both a time standpoint and a mental focus standpoint?
Um, uh, I never get too worked up about anything. I mean, it's just don't sweat the small stuff. First of all, nothing's a big deal. You always have a solution. I always tell people it's not the end of the world. You just take a step back. It's not a problem. Come with me with the solution. You can figure it out. It's not a big deal, but you have to be very intentional with your time. Like I know my carve outs, I'm very calendar specific heavy. Um, and I lean on technology for that stuff, which sounds wild. Like I don't know if I showed you this one, but I have one AI I use called Fixer. It's Fyxer, Fixer AI. And it's a product to like help answer emails, but at its core, it logs into all of my meetings, whether I'm there or not. It will record it. It will summarize it for me, but it learns everything how I talk, what I'm up to, what's top of mind. So when I go into at the end of the day and I'll go to my drafts section of my Outlook and I'll have like 200 drafts of what they think I should respond to and how I should respond it. And sometimes I just have to hit send, 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 send. But that's wild. So now I have it into all of in the Just HQ and attorney share company meetings. I have it logged into everything, even if I'm not there. So it knows absolutely everything is going on with the company, and it'll just give me a high level view at the end of the week. But I mean, the time saving alone from something like that is hooked up to my Outlook. So like, if somebody wants to set a meeting, it'll actually suggest to me the time slots I'm available in days, and I could just push a button even from my phone. It'll grab the Zoom link, tell the person that sent it to it, and put it on my calendar. That's wild, man. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, but
Which is
and I could get better at it. If I had a little more time, I'd be a little more dialed in on those systems. They'd be even more synced up. But look, don't like I was telling you, don't realize it, you got to think about what you're at some point, is it important enough for you to be there? Like at some point you have to be comfortable saying no. And you have to weigh balances. And you have to say, my mission critical is my family at this time. I generally have a no weekend rule. I take a lot of red eyes. I try to be there when kids wake up on Saturday. That's important to me. That's why for a lot of grad, I make sure people can bring their kids with them. But those are my boundaries. Otherwise, I'm never not working, but that's it.
get it. I get it. I get it. Man, you've been amazing as
Yes,
always.
sir.
I really appreciate you joining us and um, sharing some real wisdom for folks who want to get in touch with you. What's the best way for them to do it?
Just go to Planet Fun Bomb on Instagram. It's the fastest. Email, I don't see as much, but it's robert@justicesteam.com. Well, my email, my AI email might get back to you. But if you ask, so I say if you jump at me on email, just say something that like is so specific that it doesn't think it's junk or spam. Um, like this one, Lindsay Lane, and she runs it's like they do all these CLEs. What's their called? I'm blanking on it, but where they're fantastic. And the reason I got in touch with her, she sent an email and it just said Midwinter's Night Dram. It's like one of my favorite whiskeys. So she knew. I opened the email and I was like, I would have missed that email 10 out of 10 unless it said something like that. But it worked, man. And I've done a lot of work with them. Sprout Ed. So they put away, do stuff like that, guys. Like be memorable. Don't be annoying. Like you can, as you say, 50%, these people are going to get back to you at least. But if you're just a taker and you're there just to do different things, it's a different situation. If you're looking for mentorship, got you all day.
I love it, man. I love it. I
You
love it. Bob, thanks so much for being on the podcast. Chelsea, thanks for getting everything set up. Again, this has been Best Practices with Kenny Berger. Our guest today, Bob Simon. Uh, one more great episode in the books. Thank you all so much for listening.